morning, everyone, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to this important webinar on green finance and sustainable investment. My name is Dr. Mumtaz, and I'm delighted to be your host for this session. It is my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Mehdi Seraj, a distinguished academic from the Department of Economics, Near East University. Dr. Seraj has an exceptional academic and research background with a focus on economic growth, sustainability, and environmental finance. Over the years, he has published numerous high-impact articles that have significantly contributed to our understanding of green finance and its role in achieving sustainable development. Dr. Seraj's expertise extends beyond the research, as he has mentored many students and collaborated with scholars worldwide to address some pressing global challenges related to economic growth and environmental sustainability. Today, he will be sharing his insight on how green finance can serve as a transformative tool to address and foster the sustainable development and investment. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mehdi Seraj.
Dr. Mumtaz, welcome everyone. I'm Mehdi Seraj, Associate Professor in Economics at Near East University, and I appreciate that today Dr. Mumtaz and I will explore how finance can drive the sustainable solution for a greener future. When we hear anything related to the green finance, we can remember some things related to the climate change and environmental change. And we can see how much countries and people are suffering from climate change, and especially about the pollution on the weather, about the firing, about the heat, about the ocean height. And we are talking about very important things about the firing and firing in jungle and removing the green area. Maybe you ask, all right, now this amount bad things are happening around the world related to the climate changing. Why we don't have any special support from the banks, financial institutes, World Bank, UNDP to stop it? Today, we try to discuss about this issue, about the climate change, about the effect of green finance on this scenario. Today, Dr. Mumtaz and I try to discuss about the sustainable investment and green finance. You can be familiar with the definition of it. You can be familiar about the sources and anything related to the green finance, which proxy variable you can use on your research, how we can work on it, how we can catch the data, how we can discuss about drivers, barriers, limitation about the green finance. And at the end, we try to review some important researches for you to get the general concept related to the green finance. When we talk about the green finance, we should be aware about some general concept. Green finance refers to financial investment that supports sustainable development and environmental objectives. This includes funding for renewable energy, energy efficiency, sustainable agriculture, and other environmentally friendly initiatives. Green finance generally aims to reduce carbon emission and promote the low carbon and climate resilient economy. In one very simple sentence, we can say green finance try to support all kind of investment in green economy, in projects that they are friendly, support the environmental. We are talking about investment and funding the projects that can decrease the level of carbon, in the air and try to have a very urgent action on the climate change. When we talk about the green finance, we have to know that green finance matters because it helps mitigate climate risk, promote the clean energy, and aligns financial resources with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Today, I try to explain what is the meaning of these 17 goals that they developed for development around the world. Generally, when we are talking about the development, we are talking about the quality of life. We are not talking about the economic growth or some financial growth, financial development. We are talking about the human's life's quality. How green finance can increase the quality of the human's life. It is matter. If we want to have one fast background related to the green finance, it started from 1992 Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, that they try to motivate the people to think about the climate change in the world, what is happening, how much jungles in Amazon, African countries try to be removed, green area try to be vanished, and how much pollution, climate change, and environmental change can suffer the people's hands. It started from 1992 from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. And after that, in 2008, because of the financial crisis happened in USA and then European countries, people understood that how much financial market can be risky. If you remember, in 2008, many countries after USA, such as France, Portugal, Italy, Greece, Cyprus, they suffered because of the financial crisis. They lost big part of their wealth because of that crisis. And then all people, economists, financial analysts understood the level of risk in financial market, and then they try to recognition and growth the recognition in the climate and environmental risk, and they try to stabilize the economics in the market. And the shining part of this green finance is related to the Paris Agreement 2015. According to the agreement between the majority of the countries around the world, they tried to sign a deal to decrease the level of carbon and carbon production, to decrease the temperature with 2 degrees around the world. That 2 degrees could support the earth. It could stop the melting of the ice in North Pole and South Pole. It could stop the firing in the jungle. But unfortunately, in first period of Mr. Trump presidency, he exited the USA from the deal, and then some kind of competition between Russia, China, USA, India happened, and they try to focus on their GDP, and they produce carbon more and more and more. As you know, top 10 countries around the world that they produce so much carbon, and they try to have a negative effect and negative externality about the climate actions are related to the USA, China, India, Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Germany, Japan. They know this type of countries, Japan, Germany, or all of them are developed, but they have the big role for climate change and this amount of pollution in the world. And we hope that we can force them to decrease their pollution if they think about the future. Another side of our meeting today, our webinar, is related to the sustainable investment, that it has a tight relation with the green finance. When we talk about the sustainable investment, we are talking about integration of environmental, social, and governance factors that they are famous to SEG. And these factors try to merge together, and sustainable development wanna enter these SEG factors inside of the financial decision making. It seeks to achieve competitive financial returns while positively impacting society and the environmental. We have some good examples that how green finance merged with the sustainable investment. Then later, Dr. Mumtaz will give more details related to these examples, such as green bonds, sustainable banking, impact fund, carbon market, and how they can shows the effect of green finance on sustainable investment. Very good example in this topic can be Tesla company, and they are kind of leader of green technology that they're using. They're focusing on green technology, green finance, green investment, and they are caring more than many countries and governments related to climate change. As I told you, UN Sustainable Development Goals became the trend for research, trend for countries to catch the high level of development in their countries. We have 17 different goals that UN designed for development in the countries. First of all, we are talking about the no poverty anywhere. Second goal is related to the zero hunger and achieve the food security and improve the nutrition and promote the sustainable agriculture. Food security means people have 2-3 meals for their family every day without any condition. Third goal is related to the good health and well-being, and it ensures a healthy life for people, anyone, anywhere. Fourth one is related to the quality education, try to promote the lifelong learning opportunity for all people around the world. Fifth is gender equality. One of the most important variable, according to my mind, is here gender equality, and it try to empower all women and girls to have a same opportunity, same position with man in wage, in salary, in traveling, in life, everything. Gender equalities matter in economy and finance. And the last person won the Nobel Prize had research related to the gender equality. Six, SDG or Sustainable Development Goal is related to the clean water and sanitation. It tried to ensure availability and sustainable management of the water. And seventh goal is related to the affordable and clean energy, that when we are talking about the affordable and clean energy, it means we are talking about the reliable, sustainable, and modern energy, such as renewable energy. Eighth goal is affordable and clean energy is related to reliable and eighth goal, is related to the decent work and economic growth, that we are talking about the sustainable economic growth and full and productive employment. Economic growth is one part of economic development that countries are carrying. Unfortunately, big carbon producer around the world just focus on this target, economic growth, without caring about the economic development and quality of life. SDG 9 is related to the industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and it tries to foster innovation and discuss about the sustainable industrialization. Goal 10 is related to reduce inequality within and among the countries. SDG 11 talk about the sustainable cities and communities, and try to focus on safety and settlement of the human and economic and cities and communication. SDG 12 is related to responsible consumption and production, and discussed about the sustainability in this consumption and production side. SDG 13, one of the most important part here, is related to the climate actions, and it takes urgent action to combat the climate change. SDG 14 is related to the life blue water, and it tried to discuss about the sustainable use of the ocean, sea, and marine resources. SDG 14 talk about the life on land and try to protect all resources and promote the sustainable use of ecosystem. SDG 15 talk about the peace, justice, and a strong institution, and promote the peaceful and inclusive societies, provide the access to the justice for all people, and at the end, partnership of the goals is matter here. Three targets generally are tied with green finance. SDG 7 or affordable and clean energy. SDG 9 is related to industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And SDG 13 related to the climate actions. And green finance try to work in these three targets and try to help the quality of life, the life of the people according to these three important targets. Now, I want to invite Dr. Mumtaz Ali. He's assistant professor of finance at Near East University. His background in bachelor and master is business administration, and he finished his PhD in finance at Near East University. He has started to teach at Near East University in 2022, and after that, he had many valuable researches related to the green finance, green economy, climate finance, green energy, sustainable environmental, and economic development. He's doing well on his research, and nowadays he has many publications on good journals, and he's doing some valuable work for Near East University. I should say thanks to Dr. Mumtaz and invite him to continue to present the webinar to you. Dr. Mumtaz, please open your microphone. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Seraj, for your kind introduction and for your comprehensive overview of the subject. Building on the points you raised, I would like to highlight a few additional dimensions of green finance and its role in sustainable development. Basically, Dr. Mehdi has explained about the SDGs, 17 SDGs, but closely related to the SDGs with the green finance are, affordable and clean energy, SDG 7, SDG 9, and 13. Basically, the objective of these SDGs is to promote the green energy, to promote the innovative industrial infrastructure, and to mitigate the climate change and to tackle down the problem that is a climate change. So the objective of affordable and clean energy is that to ensure to affordable, reliable, and sustainable and modern energy for all. Green finance can help to achieve this target and this goal particularly by channeling the funds into renewable energy projects like solar is there, wind energy, hydro projects are there. So these are essential, which are very essential for transitioning away from the fossil fuels, which are harming the environment. Industry and innovation and infrastructure, goal number 9, basically is related to the innovative, product and innovative infrastructure. The funds can be channeled to these industries in order to improve and in order to modernize the infrastructure. To build a resilient infrastructure basically and promote sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Climate change, the funds throughout the world, they have been, channeled to some of the climate actions to mitigate the impact of carbon dioxide emission. For example, carbon capture storage, for reforestation. The world is moving toward the reforestation and conservation. And resilient projects are some of them. Green finance basically is a transformative tool for achieving these SDGs, which are closely related, and as it ensures the financial resources are directed toward the projects that aligns the economic growth with the sustainability. So the world is basically focusing on the balance between economic growth and the sustainability. And it can be only achieved by channeling the funds and capital in sustainable activities in order to meet the Paris Agreement, in the goal and commitment by the world in the Paris Agreement 2015 and SDGs as well. The policy and regulations can be aligned to the green finance, as you know that Paris Agreement and SDG, the countries, they are all over the world, and the countries all over the world and the financial sectors, they are trying their best to reduce the emissions. Hence, they have to meet the global agreement. Therefore, the world is moving towards to develop the new regulatory framework, the policies. And for example, there is ESG reporting. It has become very mandatory, and the government provide incentives for the green investment. Just for the sake of example, you can see that there is a European Union Green Deal, and the aim of this, regulatory framework is to make Europe climate neutral by 2015. It can be obtained, by producing and promoting the clean energy investment and carbon border taxes. So the world that has initiated some of the key initiatives and the projects such as carbon emission trading system, renewable energy projects, energy efficiency programs, and electric vehicles. From 1990 to 2020, you know that the EU, European Union, has reduced its emission by 31%. It is a great achievement for the EU countries. Whereas in total consumption of the energy, EU is contributing 21% according in 21. This is the figure of the 21 year, that it is contributing 22.1% of the renewable energy in the total energy consumption. Hence, the world, particularly EU, European countries, they are moving towards the clean energy by investing and utilizing and injecting the capital from the fossil fuel energy sources and alternatives to the renewable energy and clean and green energy, the projects. Here, there are basically drivers and barriers to the green finance, and these drivers include climate change risk, because the risk related to climate, that drives the countries and the companies and industries to move and invest the green capital and green finance. Policy commitment to meet the required goal according to policy is one of the main factor and the driver. Investors demand. Nowadays, the investors, those who wants to invest in the companies, they always demand that how much company is involved or how much organization is involved to invest in green finance. Is it thinking about the climate change? Is it thinking about the investors in perspective of environmental degradation? So and then last one, the technology. So these particularly are the drivers of the green finance, and these drivers motivate the world, the countries, the regions, the organizations, the industries and sectors to promote and to invest the green finance. But beside these drivers, some of the barriers are there, like lack of awareness and understanding. For example, most of the sectors, they believe that green finance is very costly to initiate the projects and to have the renewable energy, and like solar, wind. They seems very costly. They don't have very basic understanding and awareness regarding the benefits and outcomes of investing the green finance. Again, greenwashing challenges. It is a concept basically that so many organizations, in order to increase their return, and the investors believe, they try to manipulate the information regarding the climate activities they are doing. So it is like a window dressing concept that they manipulate the information. So it is second barrier to the green finance investment. And then the financing gaps in the countries. You can see the economic situation of most of the emerging and most of the developing countries. For example, Pakistan is one of the example, like Sri Lanka is one of the example, Afghanistan and those Gulf countries, most of the Gulf countries, they are the example. Like in Gulf countries, if we see the Saudi, Qatar, they are investing very well in terms of the green finance. They are thinking about the future of the country and their generation. But most of the developing countries, they don't have sufficient funds to invest in the green projects to mitigate and to combat with the climate change problem and the risk. These barriers hinders somehow the countries and the organizations that think before investing into the green finance projects. Uh, Instruments, this is particularly for the researchers, young researchers, those who are interested to use the green finance as a tool and an instrument to investigate the impact of green finance on climate change, on environment, on economic growth, green economic productivity. They can use like green bond is one of the instrument that can be used to measure the green finance. Carbon pricing, particularly like a mechanism like carbon taxes, can be used to is a proxy for the green finance. Green banking initiative, for example, the concept before, as I worked in one of the leading banks of Pakistan, there was no concept of green banking. But when the concept came, when the world was thinking about how to reduce, how to mitigate the climate change problems, so the banking sector, they have started thinking about the green banking concept. They started, central banks of every country, each country, they are concerning and they are issuing the green policies and the regulatory framework for encouraging the banking sector, particularly the commercial banks, to invest and to finance the projects related to the green finance that have this substantial and beneficial effect on the environment. And the last but not least, the green insurance can be used to investigate impact of the green finance as a tool. The companies, particularly insurance companies, they are investing in the green projects. Where we can download this data, there are different sources, but some of the sources which are freely available for the students, for the researchers, for the graduates to extract the data are IMF. IMF provides a wide range of, the green finance data on green bonds, climate mitigation funds, on the carbon taxes, carbon prices. OECD, again, it is a rich source of the data. We can have the secondary data on that. World Bank, particularly, I will focus here, the World Bank ESG portal. World Bank ESG portal provides you, the factors related to the environment, social and governance. You can calculate the overall country's score, how the countries are performing in terms of environmental sustainability, how countries are performing in terms of green finance. You can have a good idea. You can have a ESG score from this World Bank ESG portal. Last one is the Federal Reserve's economic data, FRED, and it can be used for extracting the data in order, for example, economic growth, renewable energy, fossil fuels. So such data can be extracted from these freely available sources. Other sources are there, but they might be the paid. But these sources are available for every researcher to go on and to research the impact of green finance on different environmental sustainability and how the country, the world, the region is doing in order to mitigate the climate change. Based on this, some of the researches on the green finance I will highlight here, like 2019, Lee and Wang explored the differences between green finance and a traditional finance, as Dr. Mehdi differentiated the green finance and traditional finance. They said that, their unique value in promoting the sustainable development, that pointed out that the green finance supports environmental projects through innovative financial tools and mechanism while driving the green transformation of the economy. 2020, Wang emphasized the crucial significance of green investment in addressing climate change and resource scarcity challenges. He argued that the green investment not only environmental benefits, but also creates long-term economic returns for the investor. So green finance, according to his research outcomes, states that green finance is not only creating environmental benefits, but the investors return, because investors believe that the company, the organization, the country is investing in green finance. They feel confident in the stocks, particularly a long-term financial instrument. Brown and Green 2021 analyzed the development trends and potential of the global green finance markets for a global perspective. They noted that as countries increasingly prioritize the sustainable development, the green finance market is exploring rapid growth. Chen and Liu in 2013 focused on impact of green finance policies on corporate investment behavior. They found that appropriate green financing policies can incentivize enterprises to increase investment in green projects promoting sustainable development. I and Dr. Mehdi, along with some of the other researchers, investigated the impact on the impact of the green finance on Asian countries and OECD 15 countries, as well as the South Asian countries. Like Jahangir, these three papers are related to our research. Actually, in Asian countries, we found that the green finance and the clean energy positive shocks enhances the ecological quality and negates shocks. Negative shock harm the environmental quality. Ali et al. 2024. We investigated the impact of green finance on OECD 15 countries using RALS co-integration and found that renewable energy, foreign direct investment, gross capital creation, trade openness, and human capital have substantial influence on the green finance investment. So they are closely linked with the green finance investment. In 2023, along with Dr. Mehdi, we investigated and published one of the potential, paper in the context of the South Asia, and found that the banking sector development, particularly in terms of developing the financial structure, economic growth, clean energy, carbon emission, foreign direct investment, remittances, and trade openness plays a positive role in attracting green finance in long term in these South Asia countries. So to promote the development of the green finance and investment, scholars have proposed several policy recommendations for the countries where they have investigated the link between green finance and climate change and economic growth. They include, these policies or policy recommendations include establishing sound green finance standards and evaluation system, enhancing information, disclosure, and transparency, and providing policy support and incentive measures. In summary, we can say that green finance and investment is emerging trend in sustainable development, have important theoretical and practical significance through the study of relevant literature. A better understanding of the connotation, current status, and future trends of green finance and investment can be obtained, providing valuable references for promoting sustainable development. These are based on the literature. These are the current developments of the green finance. The world is moving toward expanding the green bond markets. The world is thinking about investing the projects through the green bond markets, issuing green bonds for sustainable projects. Regulatory advancement have been the regulatory framework have been enhanced and expanded, and the new regulations related to the climate change, financing green finance initiatives, green initiative, and they have been increasing throughout the world. And institutional commitment and challenges, just like the central banks, the governments, they are focusing and they are very committed to face the challenges related to the climate change, and they are providing the incentives and the policies to the industries, and as well as the commercial banks to participate in channeling the funds, particularly green finance, in renewable sources rather than renewable alternatives rather than the dirty fossil fuel alternatives. Innovative financial instruments like tax equity have been introduced in the USA, and capacity investment schemes have been introduced in most of the countries. And the last one is the market trends and the projections. Growth have been, it is a witnessed in EU countries and most of the, in particularly in China, it has been one of the, the prime objective of the Chinese government to promote the sustainability. That's why they are investing. They are thinking about the growth in terms of channeling the funds from fossil fuels to the clean energy sources. Challenges here, challenges of the green finance, definitely there are the challenges. For example, the lack of unified and standardized green finance standard. There's no particular or unified and standardized standard to measure the green finance. Some people said that it is a green finance. Some of the researchers use the climate finance, carbon finance. So there is no unified and standard to measure the green finance, basically. And this makes it difficult to form genuine market standard, increasing uncertainty for the investors and financial institutions. Lack of the transparency, for example, some enterprise lack transparency in environmental, information disclosure, making it very difficult to evaluate their environmental and social responsibility performance. This hinders accurate assessment of the sustainability by investors and reduce the effectiveness of green finance. Regulatory system, more importantly, despite the government issued a series of policies on green finance throughout the world, the regulatory system is still needs further improvement. The lack of clear legal and regulatory framework may affect the market development and behavior of the participants, for example, the organizations and the investors as well. Public's understanding is one of the challenge the world is facing. Although the concept of green finance is gradually accepted, there is still room for improvement of public's understanding of its meaning and the role. This may affect the level of public support of green finance, restricting its promotion in society. Thank you all for joining this webinar. Your engagement and interest in green finance are truly inspiring. I hope today's session has provided valuable insight and sparked meaningful ideas.
I should say thank you, Dr. Mumtaz, for your amazing presentation. Just I forgot to tell some things, discuss about some topics during my presentation that my mind was busy with time management. First of all, maybe it is a question on our friend's mind that is electricity clean or not? Dr. Mumtaz, as you know, many countries, they try to burn fossil fuel to produce clean energy, such as electricity. But this type of producing electricity with burning fossil fuel cannot count electricity as a clean energy. According to my mind, in many countries, people or scientists try to claim that they use electricity as a clean energy, but it doesn't mean in reality it is a clean energy as they burning fossil fuel to produce it. Another thing was missing from my part that I forgot to tell. Maybe many people say many countries such as New Zealand, Denmark, Netherlands, they're investing well on green finance and green project. Why still we are suffering with climate action and climate changing? The reason is the share of Denmark, New Zealand, Netherlands in world economy is very small, and hence, as much as they invest in green energy, it cannot affect the climate action. The big, or we can say the famous actor in this area are China, USA, India, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Japan, Germany, Iran, Iraq, Qatar. They are the big producer of carbon around the world. It means if it want to be punishment or want to be kind of a starting point to decrease the carbon emission around the world should start from these top 10 countries. Maybe UN should put pressure on them as a punishment, as a percentage of GDP, to force them to decrease the consumption of fossil fuel and increase the level of renewable energy. And at the end, maybe now many of our friends ask, okay, many policymakers claim that they have actions. Why nothing happened in their country? If you want to see really one policymaker, one scientist is caring about the climate change, you should see their private life. When president of one country claimed that I'm caring about the climate change, but he has a car that consumes fossil fuel, or he has a big car with engine 3.5, but they consume gasoline, it means he's not caring, just he's doing some show off. See the president of Russia, president of USA, president of China, which one has electric car? None of them. It means they have just a slogan and they are not caring in reality about the climate change. They are caring just about that traditional finance, that their country should have good GDP, good production without caring about the environment. It was from my side. And now
I agree with you, Dr. Mehdi Seraj. I agree with you 100%. They have to think about, before trying to guiding other countries, which are developing countries, they are well developed and they must think about, because, as you said, that China, USA and India, they are the most contributors in terms of the carbon dioxide emissions or greenhouse gas emission, and they are well developed as well. So now when they are well developed, they are thinking, they are trying to say other countries to promote the green energy and other, economic growth. They have to create the balance between economic growth and environment with limited or scarce resources. So already these countries have very scarce resources, but the China and USA and other countries, they have, vast resources, and they have to think about on the priority. They have to take these goals on the priority. One of the student and one of the participant, Joseph, he said that reducing greenhouse gases emissions should be a core service for all countries. I agree, but here I agree with the Dr. Mehdi as well. It should be core, services for all countries, but the prime, service must be provided by the top developed countries in terms of economic growth. They have to maintain the balance. Or we can say these countries can be imposed some of the green carbon taxes, and those, the funds have been generated from the carbon taxes, can be employed and can be deployed or can be injected in the developing countries in order to mitigate the climate change, in order to mitigate the environmental degradation. This can be only possible way. There is one question. He said that I have a question. What are some of the sustainability risks you think are important to consider in deciding invest in TRNC or any other country for matters? Moses, yes, Sujam. There's a question
yes.
that what are some of the sustainability risks you think are important to consider in deciding invest in TRNC? Particularly, the question is in the context of the TRNC.
Yeah. I think this that is focusing on sustainable investment, okay, is far from the green finance. But when we are talking about the sustainable investment, in our research, we try to focus on the green economy and the base of the caring about the nature. If you think about this type of investment, sustainable investment in North Cyprus, the best one is investing in solar panel area, because we are talking about the green finance and sustainable investment. And Cyprus is a place that people still, majority of people, they didn't install solar panel in their home. Hence, any type of business to produce the solar panel or installation of the solar panel with the new and modern methodology, not with the classical way that you should install on the roof. Now you can see new technology. It is some kind of color or carpet they try to put on the wall, on the window, on the different things. If one person can invest to import this type of solar panel and install in Cyprus, first of all, can do some kind of investment and profit. Secondly, they can rescue the people from the shaking in the winter because of the cutting of the electricity which keep the company. And at the same time, keep the try to produce so much pollution around the Karpaz area, and people are not happy in that area. If really big investor come and invest in Cyprus in solar panel and clean energy, they try to do the most important and sustainable investment in Cyprus, according to my mind. Yes,
there is another question that is Muhammad Amin Aran. He said the sustainable strategy or strategies you suggest if you want to start a conversation with a client about sustainable investment. So particularly, do you want to answer this question, Hujam, or should I continue? Okay, so sustainable strategies, when you are talking about the client in terms of the investor, the companies or the organizations, I believe they have to provide evidence that how much they are serious for the environment. Are they working on ESG factors? Are they thinking about the environment? Are they thinking about the society? Are they thinking about the governance? So basically, we have to check the scores, and we have to check that how much they are, the companies, they are related with the, they are relating their goals and integrating their goals with the sustainable development. We have to check the policies before deciding, and that how client, in terms of investor, think about sustainable investment.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mumtaz. Mohammed Sila, he asked that how can green finance and sustainable investment drive the transition to the low carbon economy while balancing financial returns and environmental impact? See, Mohammed, it is a nice question. It is exactly related to the difference between the classical finance and green finance. If you see in the past, when they wanted to analyze the project, they wanted to investment appraisal or cost benefit ratio, they focused just on the financial profit. After that, they try to add some kind of economic profit on the policy base. But nowadays, if you see the project of the World Bank and UNDP, they are focusing on the environmental economic analysis. It means that as much as financial profit is matter, economic benefit with focus on the green finance is matter. Big project related to the green finance, it means we are caring about the quality of life and health of people. We are talking about the effect of positive externality and negative externality. When we have some kind of investment on green project, maybe financially net present value is negative, but economically net present value is positive, and because we are talking about the removing of negative externality from the people's life. Maybe for one institute or person, financial innovation and financial revenue is matter. But for government, bigger scales, when we are talking about the country, for organizations, governments, country, economic aspect and environmental caring.
There is another question, Hujam, Abdullah Abdul Salam. He said that he asked a question that how far are we from achieving 100% clean and sustainable energy and the green economy and the finance? Let me take an opportunity to answer this question. Actually, we cannot measure, first thing, and it depends. If you want to measure how we are far, then we have to think about, we have to segregate the countries by their economic situation. For example, USA is contributing into the carbon dioxide emission. China is contributing to the carbon dioxide emission, but at the same time, they are investing so much funds are injecting their capital into the green projects. Now, if you want to gauge or measure the growth in terms of producing and achieving 100% clean and sustainable energy, we have to think that how much goals have been achieved by the countries in terms of Paris Agreement 2015 and in terms of SDG 2015. Like it is desired by the UN, United Nations, to become 100% neutral in terms of carbon emission by 2050. So we have to think that how much a country has participated or injected their funds, green funds, in their the projects, initiatives, and how much they are contributing their in terms of renewable energy. For example, as I said in my presentation, that the EU, European Union, it has contributed 22.1% up to 2021 is a component of renewable energy in total energy consumption. So the world is trying, the countries are trying their best to achieve the goal by 2050. But definitely there are so many geographical, so many political, economical issues and the barriers, and the countries have to think, because while like there is unemployment and hunger they have to face, and the countries has to face the hunger or the unemployment, rather than investing in green finance or reproducing 100% renewable energy. So prior to this objective of producing 100% clean and sustainable energy, the countries, the governments, they are thinking about mitigating and dealing with other important issues. So they cannot be left on the cost of producing 100% clean energy and sustainable energy. So I think it will take time to be 100% clean. I mean, 100% generating clean energy, I think.
For sure, for sure. Dr. Mumtaz, Peter asked, is it possible for an increase in fossil fuel use to actually lead to the decrease in carbon emission? I think these questions can be divided in short run and long run, Peter. In short run, for sure, when you use fossil fuel energy, a level of carbon emission will increase. But in long run, it depends on the countries. In developed countries, according to Kuznets theorem, in developed countries, because if their target is development and focusing on the renewable energy consumption, it can have negative effect on level of carbon emission. It depends on the level of development. But in developing countries, for sure, it takes time. Still, we have time to catch in that target that using fossil fuel energy can have negative effect on carbon emission in developing countries. But right now, in short run, no, for sure we cannot. But in long run, in developed countries, for sure we can catch it.
There is another question. The Prince Toy, he asked that what is the process for a country to seek green bonds? See, the bonds or the bonds. I mean, these are the instrument, financial instruments to finance the projects. Now here, the traditional bonds and the green bond differs in only one thing, that is the purpose for what you are using. Because bonds, they provide the capital, they provide additional capital. So if the process of issuing green bonds will be same like issuing green bonds to the general public, it will be the same. There's no difference. But yes, particularly the purpose of issuing bond must be to produce, I mean, to invest the capital generated by the green bonds must be invested into the green opportunities, rather than the opportunities they are very dangerous and harmful for the environment. So there's no, I don't think there's a very much difference between the process of issuing green bonds and traditional bonds.
Okay, I think there is no question more.
Thank you, Muhammad Silla. I think that if there is no question, there is one question from Godfrey. If you want to answer it, Sucham, Godfrey. He asked that what are currently programs available to help countries under development in green financing, particularly renewable energy, agriculture, or water management?
And yes, Dr. Mumtaz, as we know, there is many projects with UNDP and World Bank, IMF, they're doing in many countries, especially in Asian countries and African countries, in developing countries. We focus on the IMF doing some good projects in Pakistan, Bangladesh, or UNDP and IMF, they're doing many projects for investment in solar panel, dam, related to the renewable energy from the wind, electricity, and a special turbine that they try to install. That many projects that if you check the portal of UNDP, World Bank, or IMF portal, you can see that their current project, their previous project, they invest so much. They try to absorb the good financial foreign direct investment and give a special loan to these countries to do this type of project to help the nature. As I know, there is many, and the only way, because these type of projects are not a small project to be financed with normal private sectors. They need big organizations such as IMF and UNDP. Hence, the countries, the government of the developing countries should contact with the IMF, World Bank, UNDP to motivate them to invest in their country for renewable energy-based investment. Okay.
Thank you, Zainab. It was okay. That's not question actually. These are the comments by the participants. I think we can end if there is no question, Ajam.
Yep, I agree. It was a good day. We shared some of our researchers with our friends, and hopefully it could give some guidance to them for their current research, future research, and we could do a small part of our duty to aware the people about the green finance and climate change.
Thank you, Doctor. In the last but not the least, because this is the start, not the end, I have to say, together we can turn these challenges into the opportunities and pave way for a sustainable future. Thank you once again, and I look forward to continuing this important conversation. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.